What's going on, guys? It's Intense Zeros, and the day I'm posting this, it is April Fool's Day, so happy April Fool's Day. Don't get fooled. Actually get fooled, because it's kind of funny when you guys get fooled, because I would just laugh. But yeah, happy April Fool's Day. Nonetheless, but in this video, I'll be talking about another Six Flags park, and the Six Flags park I'll be talking about in this video is Six Flags New England. Yes, I'll be ranking Six Flags New England coasters by their cost. And I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. This is probably going to be the last one for a while, but don't worry, it's not going to be too long. But I hope you guys are enjoying the series, and let's get straight into the video. Thunderbolt at Six Flags New England is a classic Woody, and it was manufactured by PTC, and it has a figure eight layout. I was kind of surprised by Thunderbolt because, you know, I thought it was going to be rough, but it ended up being pretty smooth for the most part. But there was one moment where it was kind of shaky, but other than that, it was kind of pretty smooth. But there was definitely one moment that really surprised me where it had some decent ejector airtime. And this ride does have some decent ejector airtime, but this is mostly like a back row ride. But it was a bunny hill at the end that really surprised me, and I was shocked by that bunny hill. But it's like towards almost at the final brake run, it's a final bunny hill, and that thing does give some decent ejector airtime. And I was like, wow. When I got off, I was like, wow, that thing, I didn't know that bunny hill was gonna give that decent amount of ejector airtime on that hill. But that pretty surprised me. But other than that, I think this ride was okay. Nothing serious, but, you know, it's still a great ride. Next up is Pandemonium. Pandemonium is a Gerstlauer spinning coaster, and the cost of this ride was $2 million. I think this was a cool and fun ride experience. I only got 2 rides on it, but I thought it was pretty fun. What made it fun was the constant spinning throughout the layout, and, you know, it was just cool. And, like, the drop off the mid-course was amazing, because as you're spinning, that drop really hit, and I was surprised by that drop. Like, it really hit. But this is definitely a cool ride, and definitely a ride that you have to hit when you go to Six Flags New England. So we have Flashback. Flashback is a Vekoma boomerang, and the cost of this ride was $5 million. I mean, to be honest, boomerangs are not my favorite. I mean, they're not bad, but I don't think they're as bad that people make them. I mean, they kind of are, but I don't hate them as much as others. I mean, I just consistently, like, get rides on them to get the feeling of these boomerangs, to be honest, because once I get more than one ride, I find them to be okay, and, you know, I find them pretty fun. And definitely the cool thing, definitely the backwards, like you going backwards throughout the layout, I find that pretty nice. And boomerangs, to be honest, are just a cool experience. You know, I don't find them as bad, but they are not great at all. You do get some head banging, but, you know, they're not really that bad. Next up, we have the Joker. The Joker is an SNS 40 free spin, and the cost of this ride was $7 million. I explained about this ride already. To be honest, it's a cool experience when you get a whole lot of flips on this ride. But the only bad thing is that sometimes you don't get as much flips. But when you don't get as much flips, it's very tame, and I don't find it to be that fun. But when you definitely get a ride where you get so much flips and have that flipping sensation, it's just a great ride. And I know some people don't like 40 free spins, but I definitely like them. So we have Batman the Dark Knight. Batman the Dark Knight is a B&M floorless coaster. And to be honest, this one was probably the weakest one I've ridden. And it's just tame. It's not intense at all. Throughout the whole layout, it's just tame. But one moment that I really liked was definitely the interlocking corkscrew. That moment really caught me out of surprise, because I thought it was gonna be like tame like the rest of the ride, but it definitely, that moment definitely caught me by surprise. I definitely loved that moment. But everything else on Like, everything else on the ride is just tame. It's not intense at all. And, it's definitely the weakest B&M. It's definitely the weakest B&M floorless I've ridden. And, it's just on the weaker side. And it's not really great. It's not bad, but it's just not intense. And, it's just not great because it's on the weaker side. If it was more intense, I definitely would have put it up there, but it's just tame and weak. Now, we have a two-way tie. We actually have a two-way tie. There's two coasters that cost the same, and those two coasters are Wicked Cyclone and Riddlers Revenge. But first, I'm going to talk about Riddlers Revenge, then I'll get into Wicked Cyclone. But Riddlers Revenge was actually, I find it pretty good, but it's rough, and I know some people don't like it because of its roughness, but I think the roughness really adds to the intensity of the ride, and it definitely brings the ride experience up there, and it really increases the ride experience. Because I feel like if this ride wasn't really like rough, if it wasn't no rough moments on this coaster, I feel like Riddler's Revenge will really be tame, but that roughness really brings that punch to this ride, and I enjoy the roughness on this ride, but I know some may not, but I definitely do, and I'm a sucker for this ride because every single time I go to Six Flags New England, I definitely got to get a ride on Riddler's Revenge because I just love this coaster because of the roughness and its intensity. In Riddler's Revenge, for the second most expensive coaster in the park, we have Wicked Cyclone. Wicked Cyclone is manufactured by RMC, and it's a hybrid coaster. And the cost for Riddler's Revenge and Wicked Cyclone is $10 million. And now I'll be telling you why I love Wicked Cyclone, but I already talked about why I love Wicked Cyclone, but I'll talk about it more. This small-scale RMC really packs a punch, and the drop definitely is amazing. I love the drop. If you go in the back row, the drop really hits, and definitely recommend a night ride. This thing hauls at night, and when I'm talking about haul, it hauls. You're just experiencing so much airtime, and the intensity of this ride is just great, and the blending of the elements just make this ride way better. And this ride is just, I'm a sucker for this ride. Wicked Cyclone is currently my number 2 in my rankings under El Toro, and I'm just a sucker for Wicked Cyclone. And I feel like it's a top tier RMC. It's a top tier small scale RMC. And when you go to Six Flags New England, you just always got to get a ride on Wicked Cyclone. And you can just never get a night ride. Like, you always have to get a night ride. And the Wicked Cyclone is just an amazing RMC and definitely delivers some intensity and airtime. And at number 1 for the most expensive coaster in the park, we have Superman the Ride. Superman the Ride is a intimate mega coaster, and the cost of this ride is $12 million. And I'm just a sucker for this ride too. This is actually number 3 in my rankings, and as of now, and I just love this ride, and I definitely think it's underrated. But one thing I will say is the restraints. The restraints are good, but they're not good. I definitely prefer the intimate T-bars, but we have these new restraints, but I don't find them bad, but they're not great. So let's get into why I love Superman the Ride. Superman the Ride's onboard audio really builds up anticipation for this ride. And I did get 5 rides, but my first ride actually was underwhelming, so I didn't think of much of it. And, I just wasn't feeling it. But my other 4 rides, this ride was hauling. And this decent ejected airtime is great. And one moment that really surprised me was the spaghetti bowl section. When this thing is hauling, the spaghetti bowl section is insanely intense. And I actually grayed out on one of my night rides due to this thing hauling. Like, it was really hauling, and I actually grayed out during the spaghetti bowl section. So, this ride is just great. Love this ride. Definitely underrated. And I will always be a sucker for this ride. It is actually number 3 in my rankings as of now. Definitely definitely the second best in the park. And you always gotta catch a ride on Superman the ride when you go to New Six Flags New England. There's just no doubt. But that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video of me ranking all of Six Flags New England's coasters. And as always, stay intense.